Now there is a little bit of time. If you think of something else, feel free to submit as I go through the closing and the survey as well. So in the chat, I am just dropping in the survey link again, and I'll quickly do a wrap up and a summary, but as we've mentioned both yesterday and today, we want to hear from you. It's one of our major goals of doing an outreach activity like the user workshop. It's the only way that we can improve not only our resources, but also the events that we hold, like the 2-day user workshop. So please, if you haven't done so already, feel free to submit, or rather fill out the day 2 survey. And there's actually a question going back to one of the Q&A points. If there is a tool that you feel should be integrated, or if you have a new idea for a tool, there is a section in the survey where you can explain and mention what you think we're missing or what we could look into as well. So that attendee, please do put all the details in that specific question as well. So yes, we had a daily survey yesterday, a daily survey today, and then as I mentioned, next week, there will be an overall post-event survey. So that looks at the big picture. How did we do overall, and any major changes that we need to make for next year? And that's just the link. But as I've just mentioned, it is in the chat for you. And once we close Zoom, it will pop up in your browser as well in case you miss it entirely. So please take some time to fill it out as I just do a brief recap of day 2 and a summary. So we started off the second day of the user workshop with Bjorn. So he presented MHC binding predictions with MHC class 1 and class 2. Then Bjorn was joined by Austin to discuss the T cell processing and immunogenicity predictions. And then we had Will join us to give a spotlight, a look at TCR Match, one of the new tools in progress. And then, of course, we had Paolo from Technical University of Denmark presenting on the structural tools, Lyra and Scepter. Then we had the Los Alamos team, Brian and Elizabeth, go through the HIV sequence and immunology databases. And then Bjorn made another guest appearance for the B cell epitope prediction tools, in particular Discotope and EliPro. And then we just finished up with Jay right at the end, showing us what the future of tools could look like and the possibilities there. So thank you all very much for that. And just a quick reminder as well on the post-event details. It seems like this morning was forever ago, but we will be sending a follow-up email next week to you all. It will have the workshop recording and it will have all the presentations. And there's been a request for some of the written answers as well. I would do my best to include some of those written answers that the team answered in the Q&A boxes as well. We'll also be giving out participation certificates as we do every year. That virtual format won't change, the certificates part at the very least. And then it will also include, as I've mentioned, the post-event feedback survey. So do expect that at the very latest at the end of next week while we get all of the details together for you. So with that, day 1 was wrapped up yesterday with a big overview of the IEDB, in particular the database. And now we've just finished our second and final day of the user workshop, taking a deep look into the analysis resource and its tools there. So with that, I would very much like to obviously thank our presenters for their time and effort, but most importantly, all of our attendees that attended today, yesterday, both days, if you're available. We know the time difference can be a real challenge, and I know people have really gone above and beyond just to be engaged and learn something new, which is what we really set out to do at the beginning of all this. So we appreciate your time and your interest in all of the resources that we've shown over the last 2 days. And with that, I will let you finish up if you would like, but our team will remain around just for the next few minutes for that last optional Q&A. As we mentioned, this is to discuss any of the remaining questions. I can see in the chat, in the Q&A box rather, that there aren't any questions at the moment, but we might just hang around just for a few more minutes, just in case you think of anything. But with that, I will say another huge thank you to everyone, and we look forward to speaking to you via email and also sending you all the resources next week. So thank you very much. And team, if you could just hang on the line for a little bit longer, just in case the last few questions come through. Thank you, Flavio, Talip, Leopoldo, Maxwell, Nitin. Thanks for all your lovely comments in the chat. That's really nice. Thanks, Vanessa. Thanks, Baris. And Clarissa. Definitely agree, Clarissa. Special thanks to Dr. Seti and Peters, Bjorn and Alex, definitely. Thanks, Rajan. Okay, so I have a question from Laura, and I think I will go ahead and answer this. So the question is relevant to the slides. Will the slides be shared next week? And yes, they will be. So every year we do upload our presentation slides on the Solution Center in the IEDB. The Solution Center was shown yesterday, but it's essentially the user help section of the database. So we'll make sure that all of the final slides will be uploaded there, and then we'll share that link to you all in that post-event email. So thanks for that question. Thanks, Rajan. Thanks, Mauricio. Awesome, thank you for that. There is one more question, and it's, do we have any new projects in mind? And I feel like with the great brains of Bjorn and Alex, there are always new projects in mind. But is there anything you'd like to share? We talked about the cancer database yesterday in particular. We would love to bring that to life, and we've submitted the funding for that. So we're just hoping the NCI funding comes through, because that will be the best and newest big project that we'd like to pursue. Okay, I think we've got one question on a HLA-DP dataset. I might hand this over to one of the team members. So
the question was, we have submitted a big HLA-DP data set that shows very different MHC motif. And the question is, different from what? Certainly we can follow up offline if this is a data submission and whether it's processed or not and all that kind of stuff. In general, it is entirely possible. And actually we came across independently, we just published a paper on DQ 2.5 having two different motifs for accommodating peptide bound in two different motifs, and we published a long time ago that the same is true for HLA-DR3. So it's not entirely impossible that different particular MHC molecules have more than one motif associated.
Excellent, thank you, Alex.
Right, and following up on that, so the question was what is the route to have the prediction adjusted, which I follow-up question. Essentially, the data in the IEDB is used to retrain. So there is no like, please retrain now, but this happens gradually every 6 months or so. And there has been, so essentially the data, if it's in the IEDB, it was peer-reviewed and published, would make it the next version of the algorithms. And pending issues, like Alex was saying, there's been some, how do we deal with things where there's really multiple motifs is going to be an interesting and challenging question, which is going to be very cool, I think, to address going forward. But there's no like specific please submit here to make new predictions kind of thing.
Thanks, Chow. Thanks, Michael. No problems.
And there was a question, it would be great if you could create a workshop, webinar, project course about bioinformatics. I mean, learn how to do those things. Very much agreed. And that is something we are somewhat addressing or thinking about addressing. We have been approached by other people who've been looking for using the IEDB as a teaching subject, and they wanted to create a course and then slides for it. So this is not a general bioinformatics course, but we are hoping to be able to provide access to teaching materials created for how to use the IEDB in the broader context of how using bioinformatics for immunology.
Awesome. Thanks, Bjorn, for that one. And I think we may be at the end of our questions. Bjorn, Alex, what do you think? Is it time to call it a day?
I'm ready to head back to bed.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's certainly been a pleasure. I think we can call it a day if there are no other open questions. And yeah.
Thank you. Yes, I agree. Excellent. It's been a big 2 days. So thank you all once again. We appreciate your time and have
Nina,
a lovely day.
We didn't have in the question, I think, right? But actually, one of the things that really is striking me is like, should we do this online all the time? I mean, there has been some downsides, but I think the quality of the videos we're going to get from this is going to be way higher. When we had like a camera standing there, and the attendance is great. So that would be awesome to hear from the attendees if this was matching kind of what the in live attendance of workshops were.
Definitely. So there's actually a general comments section at the end of at least today's survey. So if you have any feelings about the virtual format in particular, feel free to pop it in there. But in the post event survey that'll be sent out, it'll be much more around the structure of the 2 days and the format. So, but feel free, we've got the general comment section. So put any ideas in there too. Thank you. So
yeah, and to build on what Nina is saying, we really mean it in the sense that it's often you get like, oh yeah, another survey, and I know that it takes time from your time to fill those in, but we do really use it. We do read it, we analyze it, and it's a key component for us to be able to kind of improve and both the workshop experience and also just the content of the IEDB. We really rely on it. So please, 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 we really mean it. Send us the feedback. There was also related to that a question where I can communicate with you. And I don't know whether that was directed to Bjorn, Nina, or me, or whatever, but shoot me an email. I'm very accessible. My email is very easy. It's alex@lji.org. And I promise I'll forward it to Bjorn if it's meant to Bjorn, or if it's meant to me, whatever. We'll sort it out.
Excellent. I'm just popping that in. I'll also put in my email. So I've got Alex, yours, and I've got mine as a backup. You can always CC me in it. Excellent. All right, now I think we'll call it a day. Thank you all. In the post event, I'll also share the details of our Los Alamos team, because I know they were looking to for team members to reach out or attendees to reach out if they'd like. So I'll make sure that's all together in one place for you. But again, for the 10th time, possibly, thank you all very, very much. Have a lovely day, and yes, enjoy your weekend.